You don't want a snapshot of me in my pajamas on my third book watching trashy reality TV. For many people, we treat summer as a chance to take a step back from therapy. But honestly, it's actually the best time to work on filling your mental health toolbox with tips and tricks and strategies so that you can be ready for the chaos of the fall once the summer season ends. So, I'm Marie. This is Krista. We're lifelong educators and counseling therapists. And today we want to share with you just 3 quick, really helpful tips that will help you improve your mental health over the summer months with that idea of how to have a truly intentional, positive, filling summer. So I know in our private practice, Krista, we see a lot of cases of burnout leading into the summer. People just sort of hit this max capacity overload zone as they head into the summer months. Would you say that's true? Is that just me who sees that and feels that?
No, I agree with you. And I also notice it too with education, like educators. So let's be real, they're given 150% most days, right? Going into those classrooms. And then they're coming out into the summer. And I can speak for myself as well when I was teaching, just burnt out, literally needing at least the first 2 weeks of summer to do nothing but kind of recharge to some degree to a functional level because you're just and I can just imagine today it would be so much more. People are just physically, emotionally exhausted by the time they hit summer.
Absolutely. So Krista and I kind of gathered 3 tricks that really help us kind of reset and reframe our approach to the summer that we really just sort of wanted to share with everybody. The first one being simplify your summer, right?
Right.
As you had the wildest winter and fall and heading into spring and work is so busy, there is sort of this pressure to jam pack everything meaningful and everything memory based and everything for family and friends and connection all into those few months of summer. And that is just not a realistic approach. So really taking a step back, looking at your summer schedule and saying, is this giving me any chance to recharge or reset or rest? And if I'm being truly honest with myself, a lot of the time it's not. Even today, I realized today is the first morning that I've had a chance to be a lazy blob in the summer. I haven't run off to the beach or run off to see friends or take a little trip this was my first morning to actually do nothing. And it shouldn't have taken me that long to get there, right? I haven't been intentional enough.
It's just funny that you mentioned the word intentional because it's so true. I think that even though we wouldn't maybe consider this one of our tips, I think it is important to mention that intentionality is important. So setting that intention, right? What does that look like? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes I think we accidentally set an indirect intention to jam pack everything. And that's probably not the best approach, right? So there is that element, that FOMO piece, that fear of missing out, right? So we want to pack our weekends with trips and barbecues and friends and everything and the constant get-togethers and events. But that doesn't give us a chance to even really truly breathe. So the tricky part about that is then that rolls us right back into September without having reset or calm that cycle. And so we're just restarting another busy school year or work year or whatever that looks like for you in that same kind of chaotic state, right? So we've missed that opportunity to reset. And so a big message or motto or even just a mindset framework that has worked for me is just that idea of saying yes to less. So giving yourself permission to rest, giving yourself permission to say no. Because in this case, saying no sometimes to all the different opportunities to have fun and see family and see friends and all that. But it's actually a chance to say yes to yourself and say yes to your mental health and yes to a peaceful, calm summer for yourself. So, and for each of us, that's going to look a little bit different. For me, I kind of take a step back and say, will this bring me joy? Is this going to be something that will be fulfilling, or is it just busyness, right? Setting boundaries around what we're going to say yes to and what we're going to walk away from. Are there any little tips and tricks that you use that way, Krista? The joy piece is big for me.
Yeah. And I will say, I love the reframing of saying yes to less versus saying no, because for some of us, it's hard to say no, especially if you're like me, it's a bit of a people pleaser, and I'm working on that. But
Me too.
definitely that guilt factor for saying no and not really having a reason other than I don't really want to do that, or I don't really feel like going to that event, or whatever the case is not to hurt anyone's feelings, but you still feel
Yeah.
guilty about it. So I think that I love the reframe of saying yes to less is just, it's a positive. So I'm definitely going to use that moving forward.
I'm glad that that sits with you. My sister actually shared that with me many years ago, and it keeps coming back to me. And it does feel
Stuck
more
with you.
empowering. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does feel way
Yeah.
more empowering than just that you're rejecting. Because if you're just saying no to opportunities into friends and family, then you can quickly spiral into like, well, what do they think of me? Am I rejecting them? Why am I saying no? But really, you're honestly just saying yes to yourself, right? By saying less, but yes to less, right? So
I love that. Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to talk for a second, Krista, about that pressure to have the perfect summer? Because I feel that so deeply. And that's like our second tip that we sort of wanted to sit with
For
together.
sure. Yeah. So I find I've been guilty of falling prey to this, if you will. And it is social media related because we're so connected nowadays to being able to see like not just one or two friends like activities or things that they're doing, but like you could go on one of your social platforms and you can look to see what a whole array of friends are doing. And let's be real, we often will take pictures of the best case scenarios or the most beautiful event that we've attended or vacation we're on. And I just find that maybe it would be important to, as part of setting our intention, to take a step back and not
Mm,
have a picture perfect summer through a lens, so to speak, but rather through memories made, right? Like kicking it old school and going 1980s where there is no technology for a day or two a week or even an event or two this summer, but just to step back and be like, okay, I have this upcoming, say, birthday party. I'm going to allow myself to take, X amount of pictures and that's it kind of thing. The rest of the time, I'm going to be present in the moment and just put my phone down and just enjoy my time.
yeah.
I do find what can happen, as wonderful as it is, and I'll speak for myself in that I have fallen prey to that comparison mode, if you know what I mean. So, for example, like March break, when people go away on vacation and they're going to all these hot places, and I'm out in the
Mhm.
driveway shoveling after a blizzard that we just had.
Stop.
You know, I do
Yeah.
find myself feeling, and I'm going to use the big J word, jealous that I
Yeah.
didn't get to do that. And they are. I also remember one time, Marie, like, okay, so I paid off my student loans, and then we decided to put a payment on a camper. And it was just like a crank tent camp, with the canvas. And I thought it was like
Yeah.
amazing. It was like paradise and just a dream come true. And then we meet up with friends in a national park. We pull up to their Mac Daddy fifth wheel with the living room and the big
So,
TV and all of a sudden I caught myself feeling like I was comparing. Now all of a sudden my little sweet luxury item was no longer good enough, if that makes sense. Like, and I
mhm.
share that. I'm making myself vulnerable by sharing that for sure. But like, I do remember feeling those kind of icky feelings. And I've come to realize that comparison is a thief of joy.
You're also making me think too of honestly some of my best moments in the summer that are about recharging and being the best version of myself are not when I have my fancy Mac Daddy camper or whatever, which I don't have, or when I'm like action packed summer plans, weekends filled, right? Like those are all lovely things, but it like from a purely therapeutic space, some of my best moments in the summer, you don't want those on camera. Like you don't want a snapshot of me in my pajamas on my like third book watching trashy reality TV. You don't need to see that. But that is really like my moment to take a big deep breath and recharge, right?
Yeah,
So I think we have to think of the balance of like what goes into a summer, right? And the most photogenic moments, sure, we can highlight those, but some of the most unphotogenic ones are really the ones that will bring us like peace and joy.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, maybe as a takeaway for that piece, like, okay, if I decide not to capture every moment, maybe that can be your takeaway is try not to capture every moment through the
Mm,
lens of a camera or a post on a social media platform, but rather just to enjoy the time and memory that's made within your brain. And that's it, right? It's not for
perfect.
everyone else to see. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And that is really hard to do. So just be gentle with yourself as you're trying to step away from it too. And actually, maybe that idea of being gentle with yourself might feed into like the third tip that we wanted to share, which is self-reflection, right? I think that
Mm.
you described this one really lovely, Krista. Do you want to go for this?
I just feel like sometimes with self reflection, say something bad happened, or I was going through a particular rough situation, or whatever the case is I would
Yeah.
often self reflect after the fact. And it's often about, well, what lesson can be learned here, or I would encourage my kids the same thing. They're going through a tough time. It's like, okay, well, what
Hmm.
lesson can be learned here? But, sometimes we can twist that a little bit and make self reflection a little bit more proactive. So I tried that, and it was actually over March break again. I had set out a family, just a puzzle on the coffee table. And it was interesting to watch how it brought the family together. They just sort of like ended up just organically having a cup of tea and meeting, and after supper or first thing in the morning or whatever the case was. And so at the end of March break, I self-reflected and I was like, okay, what went well this week? Because I've been stressed out and feeling all the things, right, when you're working
Hmm.
full time, and had this break. And so now what role did I play this week that helped to calm my nervous system, to help me feel
Right.
better? And so it was something so simple. Setting a puzzle out on the coffee table was exactly what was needed in that moment. And so fast forward this summer, I did the same things. Things have been going pretty well this summer. And so I self reflected and was like, what role, Krista, have
Hmm.
you played in helping yourself have a better summer, feeling good energy wise and whatnot? And I realized it was sleep. I'm getting better sleep than I was getting through the school year. And so, okay, so these are things like, do with them what you will, but like those are
Hmm.
important pieces maybe to remind yourself moving forward when I come into the fall and things ramp up and life gets
Yeah,
really busy again, and your time isn't your time, if you know what I mean, it's everybody else's, is to remember and honor perhaps that getting that average of 7 hours of sleep a night actually did you really good, and it helped
for
with
sure.
lots of things, managing my own emotions, just having more energy through the day, feeling that I, how we get those that lull in the afternoon. So I didn't have
Cheers.
that. I
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah. Anyway, I just think that self reflection piece used in that way, that proactive way, is really empowering, and
Hmm.
can help us to set ourselves up for success moving forward.
I love so much too, Krista, that is like actively trying to catch yourself at your best, right? It's to focus on the positive. It's not like where am I dropping all the pieces and how am I messing up? But it's like what am I doing well, right? It's like a little
Yeah.
self-celebration. I really love that so much.
Yeah. So simplify your summer, right?
Yeah.
Don't capture every moment through a lens. Self reflect.
Yeah.
And then finally, start normalizing some of those conversations proactively around what a simplified, not capturing every moment, and self reflection summer could look like.
Exactly. And we'd love to hear from anyone who has other ideas of self reflection practices, like Krista noticing her sleep hygiene routine was really helpful. If anybody had anything like that to share, we'd love to read them in the comments. That would be wonderful because we're always looking for ideas for ourselves too.
Yep, for sure. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. And remember, take back today. Thanks.